Yeah,
Well,
we're not seeing a too tanky of a hold here. We've been seeing a lot of Symmetra today, trying to hold the first point as long as possible, but no reason to go to that just yet. Pretty standard from both teams. We have ID on Pharah. I always gotta call out the Pharaohs. It's gonna be ID versus Steel again, who we saw earlier, and I'm still rooting for Splyce here.
Well, what Steel's going to have going for him is it looks like Papa Smurf is going to flex onto the Zarya, and we mentioned how important that can be in those individual battles, especially. And then Steel's also going to be coming over the top and trying to dislodge AZK, who's going to be on 76 from the Cafe, and giving him an allied shield is really going to prevent that huge first burst of damage out of the 76 and give him a chance coming over the top. So no Symmetra on this defense. That's kind of interesting. They are running double support with Lucio and Mercy. And then just no Junkrat either. Dummy's going to be playing onto the Reaper now, too. He's had some up and down games on Reaper, so that's something to watch.
Yeah, ID's been playing just so good on Pharah that I think defensive Pharah without the additional Junkrat is okay. And really not having that Symmetra with Lucio, they are going to want to initiate fights.
Flame misses his first jump. Not a great sign on your Winston.
That's the hardest part about Winston. They get all the way around back right at the beginning. This is definitely going to be great positioning from them. The Zarya bubbles are doing good work out here. Everybody getting pushed aside. Flame misses another jump, I think, trying to get on top on AZK up there, but he's taken down immediately by Dummy on Reaper. And I think Flame's Winston jumps, it's a little bit too much of a difficult character for him to play.
He missed both of them. He missed his very first one to the top ledge, then he's like, oh, no, it's fine. I totally meant to do that. I'm going to come around back and get this soldier off of this cafe. And missed his second one, too.
It's kind of ironic, too, because I've heard Flame on many occasions talk about how Winston shouldn't be as good as he is for how easy it is, but I guess you're not good enough for him.
And that is going to give a huge ult advantage in percentages for Liquid off the first team fight. I think they won that 6-0, especially with ID getting a lot of kills. They're already at 73%, AZK already to 80% to handle, have res. And another offense that looks a little bit sloppy coming out of Splyce.
Well, Flame does finally get in, is able to take AZK down over the top with the help of Papa Smurf. Pure does die early in this fight, though, so the resurrection comes up for the defense pretty quickly.
Dummy gets a kill, Minstrel goes down, huge Earth Shatter from Mezzer. Papa Smurf is going to go down. Only Flame and Clockwork available. Clockwork does not have Shift. He's going to go down. Flame is going to have to jump out or hide.
And a nice jump!
Pure did die early in the fight, which is what cost him, because as soon as his name shows up in the kill feed that they res their own, only bringing up 1 or 2, it didn't matter. They knew they had the advantage there, so that's really what cost them that fight early. Now, they are going to have some nice ults to work with on offense. Clockwork's Death Blossom, Barrage, a ton of stuff coming in. Here comes the Barrage.
Steal the Barrage, gets nothing. Clockwork finally is able to get a kill on Mezzer, but Dummy gets 3, huge Death Blossom. Minstrel gets a 4th, Pure does get the res off, but goes down at the end. Dummy with another kill, now the sound barrier. And that's going to collect on the fight. ID Barrage, not even necessary at the end. Flame is going to try to get away again. They're going to hunt him down. AZK with the finish off. And really, Splyce not having nearly as much success against Liquid as they did on Cloud9 first point.
I think the game changer we might see coming up in just a second is we do have the Lucio ult that's going to speed boost them in. Of course, that's going to be a huge advantage, but also Papa Smurf finally getting that crucial Zarya ult, which could definitely win this fight. To Hang, not ready with the revive yet. He might have it by the time this fight ends. There's the Graviton Surge coming out. Damage taking a couple people down. They're going to have to find To Hang right now and make sure he doesn't get that revive. 80% now. Tons of people dying on Team Liquid, and that's going to be the push to take it. It was the Graviton Surge and just splitting everybody up there. They were able to get them one at a time after that Lucio big shield bonus.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The Graviton wasn't kind of the traditional thing where it grabs 4 or 5 and everyone gets cleaned up. It really only grabbed 1 or 2, but it made everyone else scatter around. Then on the edges, everyone won their individual fights, which was hugely important. To Hang didn't have Resurrection up, but he got hunted down anyway. So it's finally a decent take after some really rough-looking first initiations. But now Clockwork still has his ults up. Defense is in a decent spot, though, as they transition to rooftops pretty quickly.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad for Liquid. They did lose that last team fight 6-0, and that's exactly what Splyce needed. They now have ults on everyone except for Kozin, and they do have a little bit of an opportunity here to push forward, but there's going to be an aggressive defense coming out of Liquid, which does not pay off. Mezzer goes down, Dummy goes down, ID with a big pick onto Pure. That might not be enough to save them, Dehang does have res, and but he goes down early, not able to bring anyone back up. ID's going to try to stay alive, but he's not going to be able to. And Splyce takes the opportunity.
You know,
kills.
The big change was that Steel is on Winston, Flame switched over to McCree. He just wasn't, couldn't really pull the Winston together, so we have Steel doing it now, filling that slot, doing what he needs to do for his team. And I think for the first time today, we're going to see point 2 get captured and actually go to the third point.
No, don't cast or curse us. I want to see last stage.
Well, Clockwork takes that dummy, and Minstrel returns the favor, so it is a 5-on-5. ID with a huge barrage, takes out 2, does a lot of damage to Kozin. Flame is going to ult kind of late, and Pure does get the resin. So a big opportunity here for Splyce to turn this around. And he gets knocked down. Mezer might go down. No, Papa Smurf misses the charge. And there's going to be a duel on the point. Dummy with big damage on the point. Flame is only going to be left.
And Clockwork comes in, doesn't know that the fight's over, tries to take down Dehang to put him out of this fight. I don't even think it would have mattered if he did kill him, but I guess when you're that late, you might as well just die and respawn with your team. High ground is taken again by Team Liquid. I would so love to see someone get past the saloon.
Well,
I'm sorry. I know it's my fault. But I still think Splyce has this in them. They had the one game earlier. They couldn't win their first game of the day.
This
they know
is exactly where they got stopped before, where they lost the team fight and they were never able to get it going after that. So Splyce is going to have to regroup and play smart here. Flame's already switched off of McCree onto Tracer. That didn't work for them out in the last game. We'll see if it's any different now.
Well, does not start off well, as that's 2 quick kills on the Splyce as they push in. Add a couple more. The res is going to come off. They're going to have res disadvantage now.
That was a 4-man res, I think,
Yeah,
though?
5.
4-man res.
5? Well, we'll figure it out in the play of the game.
But it's not enough. ID takes down Pure. Dehang gets a kill on the Steel, and AZK finishes it off. And Liquid with another team fight win.
Really, the only reason the card is this far is because Liquid overextended on defense. And how many times over the last week and a half have we seen, well, they're going to be aggressive on defense. That didn't work out for them. I think teams need to start really exercising some patience. It used to work out much more where teams would take the fight to the opposing team on defense, but lately they just have not been executing it. And every time, I mean, it's Cloud9, it's Envious, it's all sorts of teams. Every time a defense gets aggressive, they've been getting punished for it.
Yes, we're actually seeing Splyce right now without the Fairy. You can tell why it's so important right now to knock people off this rooftop, though they're just going with a slow push through the bottom of the saloon, not even trying to get the high ground. They have the Tracer dashing around the ground. Flame actually already dead. Steel goes down. Pure almost with a revive, might throw it out here in the next second, but I don't know if they should. They should really save their ultimates for the next push, because this one's already seeming a little bit sloppy. Clockwork on the cart, though, just pushing it with nobody else around him. AZK trying to come stop him. ID shows up in the sky. Maybe they could get a little bit more out of this.
It buys
Papa
a lot
Smurf,
of room.
Stay alive.
Pure died, and then Papa Smurf died. This push is effectively over. Any death now is actually going to be brutal. I hope they don't waste ults either.
And yeah, now they're going in 1 by 1, and while they might be delaying it a little bit, time is just ticking down. Clockwork goes down very late there at the end. And they are only going to have time to have one more team fight. Now, for them, they do have Steel's ult and Clockwork's ult, and Kozin will have attack visor by the time they get there. But on the flip side, Dehang and Dummy have theirs. So it's pretty even. They're going to have one more team fight to push it to the end, stir. I don't know.
I need this. My body needs this. We have Steel on the cart, but Dummy is coming down on the Clockwork right on top of him. That's what you want to see. He throws out the combo ult with ID up top, laying it all down. But Steel on the cart, they might actually get this. Clockwork clears the area with the Death Blossom. They have a couple players ready. There's the revive, though.
And Pure's not up, and that's going to be rough. Only Steel and Flame remaining. Kozin might be able to get back. Pure might be able to get back then, but they're not dying all at the same time. The res won't even matter. Kozin goes down. Does Pure get the res off? No, he does not. And it is over. If Pure stays alive in that team fight, they might be able to win, because Clockwork was able to get a lot done really through that entire game. Flame going to Tracer again on the middle of Hollywood. did not really work out at all.
Well, Kozin was trying to deal with the biggest problem, which was ID. You know, they were unable to take down ID a lot of the times. He was doing the most damage. So Kozin was on 76 trying to deal with that. But if it's not enough, then you have to have someone to help him. I would not have minded seeing a McCree there, a switch onto even a Widow just to change the safety that ID felt in the skies there, something. But the biggest problem was that they were unable to deal with the combo, which is the strength of this Liquid team. And yeah, that Tracer did absolutely nothing. I don't think they got the support kills they wanted. It clearly wasn't dealing with the combo in the sky. And yeah, Flame had a rough game on several heroes there.
Yeah, what do you think they could have done differently? Character choices, what do you think you would have liked to have seen from Splyce?
You know, I don't know if the McCree choice was bad, other than it just wasn't working out for them. And I think offensive Pharah we've seen has continued to be great. They went away from offensive Pharah, deciding that maybe they just couldn't hang or they weren't able to do it. But I think they should have just stuck to the plan. I actually think part of that is because IDs is much better than Steel in the air, and that Steel, as good, he is a decent Pharah, but he cannot contend with ID's Pharah, and ID was wrecking face.
Yeah, anything that answers or pressures out ID, I think is fine there. Even a McCree that's not doing a ton of work, the high noon charges so quickly that pressures her out, keeps her on the ground. You could run a Roadhog to great effect. If you can get him up top, you can take the elevator or just support on the ground. I think there were a lot of better choices than Tracer, that's for sure.
See, one of the issues is, I think, with Splyce is Clockwork is their main McCree, their main Widow, and the best Reaper on the team.
Yeah.
And, like, the best DPS player on the team. So that even though Steel can play a decent McCree and Steel is flexed into Roadhog and Winston and such, really Clockwork has been playing great. I think Clockwork has really done his job. He's been getting the kills he needs to, but it's just not enough to do things, and that has limited them in terms of what they can pick.
I actually really enjoyed the Zarya pick in the beginning that was able to secure that Graviton Surge. Again, even though it wasn't the biggest black hole, it still felt like Zarya was doing enough work to justify keeping her around for a little bit.
I'm right there with you. I think Zarya is great everywhere, and it's the most impactful ult, because even if it doesn't grab 5, which people think is like the greatest way to do it, to combo down, it grabs 1 and it spreads everyone else out. You can't be around it, and when you have a team that's able to clean up the flanks and win their one-on-one duels as well as Splyce is, it can be that huge impactful ult there.
Now, Splyce is playing a single support, no symmetric defense. They're playing very risky right now. One team fight loss, and it'll be a wipe.
Yeah, they're already giving up some defensive ground. Kozin was way up top on the elevator trying to deny ID. He's still trying to shoot him out of the sky, but those Mercy heals are keeping him alive for an extremely long time, and they're just wearing out this defense slowly. There comes the hammer down already. He built that so quickly.
That's it. Pure's dead. That's it.
The map is over. They're going to get the first checkpoint in 30 seconds. Clockwork's going to come in, kill AZK. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, everybody, welcome to the second stream where our matches last 15 minutes, and then we have 15 minutes of downtime.
Nothing we can do about that. We do our best. That is just how the first map went. Hopefully, we see something different on the second map here.
We cannot make Splyce capture the second checkpoint star. We can try as hard as we want to try to will them the victory, but we can't make them make good decision-making in the streets phase. We can't make them go on top of the saloon and have better choices. I mean, really not much to say about the second portion of this map other than such a risky play coming out of Splyce to put no Symmetra or even a Lucio on defense and play a triple DPS double tank.
The Symmetra would have made that fight even worse for them. They just lost straight at it. The Symmetra wouldn't have added much to that fight, and they definitely weren't going to get the teleporter. Maybe they assumed it was going to be that difficult for them, and they decided against it. Maybe even if you had someone on the team playing that Widowmaker really confidently to shut down the Pharah, because it really was, I think ID controlled that whole game.
Really, what it is there are teams like Envy and then previously Cloud9 and I would say Rogue that can play a single support meta because they're the best teams in the world and they're really, really, really good at doing it. So that is the game that shows what happens when you play single support and you just get rolled and your whole team dies and you lose. And really the issue is when you don't have Lucio, you cannot when a team speed boosts into you and plays aggressive, you have no ability really to get away, and that's what can happen.
Yeah, we're going to jump right into the second map here. It is going to be Splyce's choice of map, and they are choosing to take us to Numbani for the first time today.
I think it's
Numbani.
It's a solid choice from coming out from Splyce. I actually thought we would have gone to Dorado instead, but maybe they felt that they had such a poor performance on offense there, especially on the second checkpoint. This is where they want to go. I saw them play here earlier. They seem like decently here. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Clockwork maybe is on a Genji.
It sounds like you're trying to find nice things to say, and it's hard for you.
Well, it's just because Splyce obviously has the individual talent here to make it work. It's just that in situations when it comes down to, coordinating ults together and having, clutch plays, they have not been able to get it done. And
I think
still
it's
probably has not had as much success this series.
I think it's smart for them to take Numbani, because Numbani's not really a map where you're going to see a ton of sustained fights. It's a one-off kind of thing where, especially on this first point, you have one chance to come in. You're not going to get offensive reinforcements ever throughout it because the walk is so long. This is one of the reasons teams don't really like playing on it. But if you can get in, win a fight, that wins you first point. That's it. That's over. You're not going to have to stick with it and stay to it. And we've seen a lot of times, especially trying to capture second point, that the longer the fight goes on, the less chance Splyce has to win it. So they're going to try to get in here really quick and just kind of bomb up through the top, which is why you see Flame on the Diva, which is why Smurf is on the Winston. The biggest strategy here is you're going to send both those tanks through this top quarter, trying to clean out the Mercy and the 76. Someone else has to come in and deal with this turret. A lot of static D, though. I mean, with this turret up, it's more static D than Genuincy, and a defensive Diva kind of.
Defensive Diva, yeah, coming out of Minstrel. They are electing to have a single support themselves along with the turret, but the defensive Diva, I think they are expecting offensive Diva, because we've been seeing that a lot on Numbani, and we even saw that. We're going to see it right now, so that might not be a bad idea.
Taking a weird angle,
just the
though.
other day, I saw Minstrel playing defensive Diva on Gibraltar, if I'm not mistaken, so it's something they like to run as well, so they're not too afraid to do it. Steel gets caught out really bad. Diva just flies over, though most of the team is behind in this little corridor, trying to push back to this turret, control this high ground, but they're all stuck back there right now. It's a little bit of an awkward fight right now, where ID is going to be really strong to just spam this corridor.
Yeah, AZK and ID able to spam a lot, doing a lot of damage.
Clockwork's already done some work, though, and really nice, and he finishes up to hang with the fight that Papa Smurf started, so that is their medic down now. That is going to be Pure, has to stay alive for the resurrection here. He comes in, brings everyone back to life. They're in a decent position, but Clockwork goes down, and he's been the one doing all the work for him.
Clockwork with some more kills. AZK and Mezer are able to bring it back, though. Dahang is not there, and that's given an opportunity for Splyce to take this steal with another big kill onto Dummy. ID able to come back in, though, was not able to get anything. Dahang is back in the fight. Papa Smurf finally takes out the turret. Minstrel kills Steel. Minstrel kills Papa Smurf. Diva doing work for Minstrel, and ID finishes it off. And Splyce had an opportunity there. Take the point. They don't even get one tick on Dahang.
That giant scientist just kept everybody in corners while the rest of the team annihilated them. That's an unfortunate first push, but Numbani capturing this first point can often be really difficult, especially now, even more difficult that the team is going to have that armor from Torbjorn for this next attack.
Well, they also have an ultimate available that is effectively 1300 HP and double damage and Molten Core up at the ready. So that's going to be fun to deal with. They're going to try to push in right through the stairs.
They're going to hold Molten Core to be for the sound barrier. I guess he did use it, so this is going to... they're able to win the team fight here, and Splyce is going to be able to regroup. I actually prefer it when it is a counter ult to sound barrier because they don't run Lucio. That's the
I tend to agree. That was very early Molten Core, which is absolutely unnecessary. They had them zoned out with the Diva ultimate, a complete waste of a Molten Core, which I think is a hugely impactful ult. That's
so Dummy with a little bit of a misplay. Steel's able to get the hook, but not get the kill, and Splyce has 4 ults up. They have everything really that they need. Most importantly, it's going to be Sound Barrier, and for Clockwork to do a lot on this attack visor. And here we go.
ID got hooked but not killed. He pops right up into the air and lays down the ultimate. Pure dropping down below. We have a bunch of fighting going on right now. It's if Pure can stay alive, and it looks like he's able to in this backfield, almost falling off the map. Dehang flies in. No one actually capitalizing and kills Dehang while he's doing the ultimate, which is
Pure
unfortunate. Again,
cannot
Pure
get off this
offside
cliff.
What is going on back there? He's doing all these flying maneuvers to try and not get caught out, but his team has died around him, and he hasn't even revived anybody.
It took him 3 times to get up off that cliff, and that slowed down the fight so much, and the slower these fights go, the worse it's going to be for Splyce. They are better when it's just a giant flash, everyone gets in, everyone uses everything right away. Pure even dies towards the end there, doesn't get res off, that was subpar play. That's
Not only
the nicest way I can say that.
Splyce has 2 total team fights, and it's taken them 4 minutes to do so. They only have 1 minute left. That's half a team fight average so far that they're going to need. They're going to have to go a lot faster. Pure has res. He cannot die early on in this fight.
Clockwork now on the 76, opening up, destroying the turret in the backfield, destroying the Torbjorn. He's going to be dead. Everyone's still... No, he's not dead. The big revive... Actually, no, he's still dead. Excuse me. Wrong team revive.
Pure
Deal comes out.
And Dehang returns.
So Clockwork continues to do work. He takes down Minstrel. He takes down Dummy. That turret is now down. This fight is going on a little long, though.
I think he should be able to get this here.
But AZK is still alive. Dehang finally goes down. Clockwork with a ton of damage kills AZK. Takes down Dehang. Is still on the point. Doing a lot of work. Papa Smurf finishing off Minstrel. And they will more than likely be able to, well, Mezer is doing a very good job of delaying the point as long as possible. And Splyce, because their attacks earlier were so ineffective, they have not taken point A at all. So they're giving an opportunity here. Luka to get back in. Doesn't look like
that's it. They are going to get it.
That felt like that was all Clockwork.
It was.
76 is such a strong character right now, and to have that damage boost on him and have Clockwork playing it, who is exceptional on the DPS, that's what they needed. I don't know what he was playing a second ago. Was he on McCree or something before that?
He's been on the 76 the whole time. It's just that no one else has been doing enough around him. I mean, he started he got the first pick of the entire match and taking down the Torb on the other team. It's just, yeah, he's been having to carry very hard. Flame does die pretty early to Minstrel here, which is going to be tough for the push as he had Pulse Bomb up trying to get to the back line.
And we are seeing Flame on that. No, he switched again already. He was on the Tracer, opting to go back to the McCree. They're getting stuffed in this corner. ID behind them is going to try and take down Pure, but Pure dashes away, able to stay alive. And the Lucio ult even comes out to make sure they stay alive. You're going to have to watch out for ID coming from behind, though. Still trying to gun for Pure. But it looks like this is really going their way, and this is kind of the smooth sailing part of Numbani usually.
That's actually a huge misplay coming out of ID and Liquid. Not only did he miss everything on the barrage, but that left Dehang alone, and it was unprotected. That was able to give Splyce the opportunity to kill him, and more than likely, they'll be able to get this second checkpoint. Liquid might try to fight it at the very end. Mezer does jump in, but that is more than likely going to get everybody killed. Dehang goes down, Mezer goes down, Dummy goes down. Splyce takes second checkpoint. And now, because Liquid played aggressive, they are going to be pushed back to their spawns on final checkpoint, allowing Splyce an opportunity to finish out this map.
I love what Papa Smurf did there. Sometimes you see opposing Reinhardt, see a Reinhardt charging in, say, well, I'll charge him, we'll knock him down, it'll be fine. He just ignored him, walked past him, and earth-shattered the entire team, and the defense got completely cleaned up. This has been a completely different-looking Splyce team on through the second stage here. A lot of switch-ups coming from on defense, ID now most notably on the Genji.
Yeah, we're going to see a pretty strong push here, too. Steel has his giant scientist in reserve to push people around during a little bit of this chaos. And Clockwork, of course, up top right now, laying down from this high ground advantage with the 76 he's been doing so well on. Right in AZK's face at the moment. Not able to kill either person, though, because they both have so many healing fields. And it looks like they were able to hold here, Team Liquid, and prevent that push. So they definitely got the cart around that corner, which could be one of the hardest parts.
Splyce had the opportunity there. They actually won the initial team fight. They forced out the revs from Dehang before Pure did. They killed Dehang before Pure died. But then Mezer was actually able to get a lot of big kills along with Dummy to force Splyce back. Splyce has a huge ult advantage now. They have Clockwork, Flame, and Steel, all with ults. Kozin almost has Sound Barrier, and Minstrel has Sound Barrier. For Liquid, he's going to be hugely important in making sure Liquid do not lose this team fight and the map.
They have to send someone through top. I would love to see Flame come through top on his McCree because they're in danger of being dropped on.
Sound Barrier goes down and does not kill anything. Flame does kills to hang and Dummy. An opportunity.
We do have ID actually switching to Genji. He almost has Dragon Blade up. It's probably gonna try and save that for after this push, though. It seems like they've won it without it, and that just puts them in so much of a better position for the next push. Dragon Blade, so powerful right now. You have Mezzer with the ultimate to hang, going to be able to revive. I don't think Splyce is going to be able to do this, though I'm so glad someone made it past the second checkpoint on a map.
Well, it's going to be interesting that Dragon Blade, as you mentioned, is super powerful. If Kozen can sniff it out and get his sound barrier down, he can negate a lot of that damage. So we'll see if that is the interaction that they are able to pull off here.
Break It Down comes out before the Dragon Blade. They're actually... Team Liquid just walked away from the sound barrier. It didn't really get much value out, and they come back out with their own. Minstrel out here on the point, trying to stop Papa Smurf from coming in a little bit. I missed the Dragon Blade is actually going on right now, cleaning up a couple people on the side. Dummy gets a huge triple blossom, cleaning up everybody, and that's one more push that they're going to have a chance to do, and it's not looking good.
Last push incoming. The one thing looking good for them, though, is that Earthshudder might be up depending on the damage gets done, and their carry has his ultimate up. I mean, Clockwork is about to get Tactical Visor. His positioning has been great with it early on. Pure's going to have res up if he can stay alive. They are going to have res advantage in that case, too, because to hang only 50%. So this next push, their last one, see how it goes.
Clockwork with attack visor. He's gonna have to get a lot done.
Oh no! That was like a four-man stun. Every person just lays on the ground at the job. That is definitely going to be the end here. One giant monkey can't do it all on his own, and they're walking forward to make sure they can't even get it to spawn now.
Yeah, doesn't look like. And Papa Smurf dying. There is no way they're going to be able to touch this cart. Liquid with a huge hold. Mezzer would play the game. Might not come up as the actual in-game play of the game, but definitely clutch moment of that map, making sure it negates Clockwork's attack visor, taking down everyone at the end. Huge plays come in.
Yeah, this is going to be the gigantic Death Blossom by Dummy. It got at least 3 people. I think it helped follow up with the Dragon Blade as well. No? Is this something else?
No,
Did he just shoot everybody in the face? There it is.
Dummy with 6 or 7 kills right there in a matter of about 10 seconds. Mezzer with 60% kill participation. Pretty good.
Yeah, that is a lot for a Reinhardt who doesn't have, you know, the one little taps that you can kind of get on some of the other characters. Pretty outrageous. AZK as well with almost 30% of the team damage. Gotta shoot those Reinhardt shields, man.
Silver lining, though, I mean, they do have a couple win conditions, does Splyce, because it looked like they weren't even going to capture first. So if they can defend first, which is entirely possible on Numbani, just defend first outright, they're going to win the map and send us to a third game. And if they can just stop them from getting to second at any point, they can win the map and will, send us to a game 3 as well. So for it looking as bad as it did for the first 5 minutes of offense for Splyce, they've now put themselves in a couple decent win conditions on Numbani so that we get a third map here. So Numbani is a very, very defensible map. And I'm going to be actually surprised if this is what they run because Clockwork had such a strong 76. And he's great on this map on the ledge, but it looks like Kozen's going to be on 76 instead, and Clockwork is going to go to Tracer, which we haven't seen him on yet today. Of course, I think in the very first days of beta, Clockwork released his first Tracer video, 22-0 against a team of developers. So he's very capable on the Tracer as well.
And we're going to have defensive Tracer. Tracer is great on Numbani. It's probably the best map, payload map for Tracer in the game, maybe with the exception of Route 66, but we haven't seen it over the map at all so much, so we don't really know. But Clockwork's going to probably more than likely going to try to get around to Dehang. Like I said, his entire goal is to be as much of a nuisance for Dehang and Minstrel as possible. And Hex, although Splyce played better at the end of that map, I would kind of say that's more on the mistakes of Liquid. Even if Liquid held the first point for 4 minutes, and that's without Dummy doing anything on Torb, and the second part was them overextending at the second checkpoint. So Liquid even kind of let Splyce get into it. This is going to be a very rough road for Splyce to try to stay alive in this tournament.
Another good thing is, though, at Flame, in the last couple games I've seen, it's not been today, but in previous tournaments, Flame's Symmetra has been absolutely baller. And if you can get a teleporter up in Numbani and really negate any sort of reinforcement or sustained pressure from the offense and get your own reinforcements in there, it becomes that much harder to push. So these first couple pushes from Liquid are going to be absolutely crucial to not allow Flame getting his telly up.
It is going to be a contest of who can take down AZK on the Pharah now. We actually have ID on Genji. They have a very mobile, aggressive team, and you can see that by the fact that they're already on the control point. They're fighting to try and get them off of it right now, but it's not looking too good already. This might just be another, like, quick wipe off of the first point. Pure flying around up in the sky, but Dummy's gonna follow him. There goes down their revive, and everyone is dead right now. It's just Steel and Kozen fighting for their life. No, Kozen's still back at spawn. He's a respawner. Don't mind me. That's not good.
Kozen died immediately to either self-damage or off the cliff, but there was no one on the other side of the kill feed for him. He was the first death. That is a very quick first capture. Still not over yet if they can hold on to second, but they have a world of work ahead of them as they have to hold for 7 minutes.
Yeah, and this is definitely one of the hardest to defend areas on any map. It just takes so long to walk back here. This is just going to be a mess up until Liquid can find out exactly how to push this through. We have a D.Va ult coming out. Might actually catch somebody? No, there was a Zarya shield that saved somebody's life. I think the Zarya saved her own life.
Now
But
Flame gets a big kill early on. They take down to Hang, and they're finally able to put up a little bit of defense. They're going to need Flame to get that teleporter. They use Graviton, they go in, AZK and Minstrel stuck in there, and neither die. Clockwork is able to kill Mezer in the back. Dummy takes out Papa Smurf, and there's an advantage for an ult advantage here for Liquid, and they take down 3 without even having to use Sword. Pure goes down, and this might be the tournament for Splyce if they're not able to get back quickly. They do have teleporter in the back. That goes down by AZK. And now the long walk comes down for Splyce to save their tournament life.
I mean, they have teleporter, but should they? Should they still be running a Symmetra here? I mean, finally, now that the teleporter's down, I guess it got some value. Flame will come up on Reaper instead. You generally don't see a Symmetra anywhere past the first point.
Well, I think they did need to stall out the time as long as possible. And this teleporter did allow them to kill to Hang, and they are able to kill ID. So that even though that Liquid's able to push the cart, it's going to allow them to have a little bit of time to get back, but this is it. If they get this checkpoint now, it's going to be tournament over. 2 to go down. AZK with another kill. Clockwork goes down. Pure is still alive. He doesn't have res. Now he does. He finally gets it. He's able to get
Papa's
back.
got Graviton too.
Another Graviton, see if they can actually kill the people inside of it this time. No, the Winston drops down a shield. They don't have enough damage. Right at the last second, Clockwork throws a bomb, but it doesn't catch anybody. Grabs onto the Winston shield, and it's just Steel up here on the Winston. Left at last, and they're going to get it right there. That is it. Splyce is done.
ID with 4 big kills with Sword at the end, solidify Liquid moving on into the next round. Good plays there from Liquid. Splyce really just not able to get anything going.
No, Splyce, I mean, it was Clockwork showed up today, and I'm not sure a whole lot of other people were at his level on his team. There were some, bright spots here and there. When they looked good, they looked really good. When they won fights, they won them decisively and absolutely crushed. But I think the longer those fights went on, the more uncoordinated they felt, the more communications broke down. They were only good when they were just kind of, quick, bam, everyone's dead, and then let's move on. The sustained fights were really where they struggled today.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork really did play great. I actually thought Steel played pretty decent in the first series, but he had some trouble, rough times in that second series. Flame with some weird decision-making, really, for me, in these games. I don't think the Tracer pick worked out quite well. I think going to McCree wasn't such a bad choice, especially to be the anti-Pharah, and they finally were able to force ID off at the end of Numbani to go Genji, but just really not as effective. And Kozen, because he's transitioning late from Team Fortress 2 to Overwatch, much later than I would say even everyone else, I think it's still going to be it's going to be tough for him to move over. I mean, he has great aim in TF2. He is one of the best players, or was recently in TF2, I think, for Street Hoops, right? So, I mean, of course, he has the individual skill there, but just because everyone else is so good, and when you're going up against AZK and having to deal with AZK's Soldier all game long and ID's Pharah, it's just going to be really rough for Splyce.
Yeah, you could tell that they didn't exactly have the confidence when they decided not to have a Pharah against ID on Hollywood that they just let that go and said the strategy isn't going to work because they're controlling the whole high ground. ID's already up there. That's too bad. I wanted to see him pull out a miracle.
And you have to maybe question Clockwork going defensive tracer at the end. I mean, we talked about it being, good on this map, but it's not used for every single top team.
I would actually say I disagree with the Symmetra. As you could usually stall out with a Symmetra, but when you also have the revives, I feel like they were going to be able to find the teleporter before it was going to get used. I love Torbjorn on that map, so I guess that's my Torbjorn bias there. We saw, even if Torbjorn doesn't do anything, the 75 armor becomes such a huge problem.
Well, I mean, I really would have just preferred to see Clockwork on 76 there. I think it's such a great 76 map on top of the ledge if you're going to really sell out and protect him there. And also because Kozin was the very first death on the very first push on defense on his 76. You can't lose that amount of sustained damage on defense and expect to win a fight. And so that's obviously why they lost the first one. I mean, defensive tracer, I guess it's kind of feast or famine. It was kind of famine there. I expect to see Splyce get better. I think they've shown really good signs, and I mean, I expect Clockwork to at least stay in the game. I was surprised when he first stopped playing Overwatch after Not Enigma, because I thought he was always one of the bright spots on that early roster too. It's good to see him back in game. Our next game and the last game, our next set and last set on this stream will be Northern Gaming Red versus, what do I keep forgetting this? FaZe. Yeah, of course it's FaZe.
FaZe up, bro.
So, how long ago did they become FaZe? Wasn't that very recent as well?
Like
3 days ago?
It was 2 days ago. Really, for final thoughts, Steel, I think, isn't playing well, but if he's going to be the main Pharah for the team, he will have to step it up just because he has to go up against Seagull in North America, Tailspin now in North America, and ID. And when you have to play against, like, 3 incredible Pharahs in a Pharah meta, it's going to be really rough for him. And if Splyce is gonna want to win, and Steel is gonna be their main Pharah, he has to be able to get to that same level if they're gonna want any success. Because if they don't, they need that puts Steel on Winston, and he actually played pretty well, I thought, with Winston. But that gives them a lack of DPS, and when you only have Clockwork being able to do all the damage, if Steel is gonna be on the Winston, then you put a lot of pressure on Flame to do that damage, and he was not able to fulfill that role when Steel moved off of DPS. At the same time, Kozin has a pretty solid Soldier, and they had been scrimming that single support with Kozin on Soldier, but I agree with you, Hex, that when you know you have to play a solid defense and you're down to your final map at the tournament, I would want my best player on Soldier, and that is Clockwork. And to not have to risk having Kozin on there. And I'd rather see him on the Lucio and then play Flame on the Flex and do something like that. Because I don't think that really worked out so well on Numbani. Maybe it's easier. It is much easier on Hollywood with how compact the defense can play and with how powerful we've seen the Soldier Mercy combo. But I'm a little more comfortable with a team like Splyce doing that. But on Numbani, you're playing such a risky game. And unless you're one of the best teams in the world that is very comfortable in playing that type of style, it doesn't seem like it was worth it. So Steel is going to have to get better on Pharah if they want to play. Well, I mean, really, if they have to do it with this meta, he has to do that. And then they have to figure out what they want to do with the flex players of him and Flame. Because if they keep having indecisive choices in the middle of these games, they're not going to be able to clutch out against the best teams.
I agree. I think there is a really strong core to their team. Pure and Clockwork work really well together, and they definitely showed they were playing really strongly. I don't know what Pure was doing floating off the side of the map, but I just want to give them a pass on that and say that they definitely have a core. I think Steel could... On a couple characters today, he was playing really well, then he started... they put him onto Winston. I think he was doing well, but I'd really like to see that team excel. That's all I want. For Christmas. Maybe by Christmas.
They all have a strong